Many years ago in the quiet city of Ndera, there lived a wealthy man named Zeno. Zeno was married to his childhood love, a kind and graceful woman named Loma. They were deeply in love, and their marriage was filled with peace and laughter. The only thing missing in their perfect union was a child. For years, Zeno and Loma tried every possible solution but remained childless. This weighed heavily on them, especially Loma, who would sometimes cry herself to sleep. But after 7 years of waiting, something miraculous happened. Loma found out she was pregnant. She broke the news to Zeno one quiet evening, and he was so overwhelmed with joy that he lifted her off the ground and spun her around. From the moment Loma became pregnant, Zeno treated her like a queen. He hired 3 maids just to cater to her every need. She didn't lift a finger, Zeno made sure of it. He rubbed her feet every night, brought her breakfast in bed, and even canceled several business trips just to be near her. "You are carrying our miracle," he often said with a glowing smile. 9 months passed smoothly. And then one rainy afternoon, Loma gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Zeno held his daughter in his arms and named her Avine, meaning blessing. That name suited her perfectly. From the moment she arrived, she lit up the lives of her parents like the morning sun. Avine was raised like royalty. She was surrounded by love, attention, and comfort. Her parents showered her with everything: gifts, affection, and admiration. There was nothing she asked for that wasn't granted. As she grew older, Zeno and Loma continued to treat her like a fragile treasure. She had 2 personal maids assigned just to her, on top of the 3 that served her mother. Avine shouldn't stress herself, Loma would often say. Even when Avine spilled juice or dropped her clothes on the floor, the maids quickly cleaned up after her. She was not expected to sweep, cook, or even make her bed. Avine's life was one of complete luxury. By the time Avine turned 20, she had never touched a broom. Cooking was a foreign concept to her. The only thing she cared about was fashion, luxury, and hanging out with friends at high-end places. Her days were filled with hair appointments, designer shopping, and lunch dates. Her parents still saw nothing wrong with it. "Why should she suffer when we can afford ease?" Zeno would say proudly. But behind closed doors, some of their friends began to whisper. "She's too pampered," they'd murmur. Still, Zeno paid no attention. His only goal was to keep his daughter happy, whatever the cost. When Avine turned 22, Zeno began searching for a suitor for her. He wanted her to marry into a respectable family. That was when he remembered his childhood friend, Toma, who had a son named Aaron. The 2 fathers met over drinks and agreed that their children should meet. "They're both from good homes, it's perfect," Toma said. So a meeting was arranged. When Aaron saw Avine for the first time, he was captivated. Her skin glowed, her figure was flawless, and her smile was dazzling. He was speechless. "She looks like a goddess," he thought to himself. But things began to shift once she opened her mouth to speak. As Aaron and Avine talked, his initial excitement started to fade. She only spoke about new hairstyles, trending gossip, celebrity scandals, and the latest handbag she wanted. Aaron tried to bring up current events, politics, even music with deeper meaning, but Avine had nothing to add. I don't like all that serious talk. It gives me a headache," she giggled. Aaron forced a smile, but his heart dropped. Later that evening he sat on his bed, arms crossed, replaying the conversation. "She's stunning, but there's nothing there," he muttered. Still confused, he decided to speak to his father the next day. "Father, we need to talk," Aaron said the next morning. Toma looked up from his newspaper. "It's about Avine," Aaron began. "She's beautiful, yes. But I'm not sure she's the kind of woman I can spend my life with. She doesn't have depth. She talks only about fashion and gossip. I don't think she even knows who the governor of this state is." Toma chuckled. Son, he said, folding the paper. "First of all, you like her beauty. That's good. Secondly, she's a woman. Vanity is in their blood." Aaron frowned. "Dad, that's not the point." Toma leaned forward. "Look, Aaron. A wife is not a political advisor. If you want serious conversation, go meet your friends over drinks. When you come home, you need a woman who will make you feel like a man, feed you, rub your back, and help you rest. That's what a wife is for." Aaron remained silent, unsure. "Besides," Toma added, "she's the only child of a wealthy man. That family can be a safety net if things go bad. You won't suffer with Avine. Think well, my son." Aaron sighed deeply. He still had his doubts, but he decided to follow his father's advice. So Aaron continued dating Avine. At first he still found her conversations empty, but over time he grew used to them. She was cheerful, polite, and always smelled like expensive perfume. She made him laugh sometimes even if it was at silly things. And Aveen, on her part, had fallen in love with Aaron's charm and soft-spoken manner. He was always gentle with her. But one day as Aaron leaned close and tried to kiss her, she pulled back. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I can't, not until we're married." Aaron paused, then smiled. "That's fine." 3 months later they had a lavish wedding. Zeno and Loma were overjoyed. Their daughter was finally married to a good, respectable man. Toma was also proud, shaking hands with guests and beaming with pride. Aaron and Aveen looked like a perfect match, wealthy, young, beautiful. But the wedding night told a different story. As Aaron approached his wife, she pushed him away. "Please, it hurts." "I don't want to," Aveen cried. Aaron was stunned. He sat up, confused. "But, Aveen, we're married now." "I know," she whispered, sobbing. "But it still hurts. I'm not ready." Aaron lay back, staring at the ceiling, feeling angry and helpless. His wedding night was nothing like he had imagined. On one hand he was frustrated. On the other he was secretly glad. This confirmed that Aveen was truly a virgin. "I guess that's something," he muttered. But even so, something didn't feel right. They were supposed to start a new life together, but it already felt like a dead end. Throughout the honeymoon, Aaron tried again and again, gently and carefully, but each time, Aveen cried and pushed him away. After the honeymoon they returned home. Aaron resumed work while Aveen settled into the house. But Aveen still behaved like a guest. She would sleep until 11 a.m. every day, wake up yawning and call out, "Zara, where's my breakfast?" Then she'd suddenly remember, there were no maids here. There was no Zara. She was in her husband's house now. She dragged herself to the kitchen, looked into the pots, and saw nothing. "This man didn't even cook," she muttered, rolling her eyes. "So what am I supposed to eat now?" She didn't try to cook. Instead, Aveen pulled out her phone and ordered food online. She sat in the living room, ate to her heart's content, and left the plates scattered all over the table. Then she lay down and started watching TV, giggling loudly at her favorite show. She ordered more snacks and drinks and spent the rest of the day lounging. She didn't clean the house, didn't make the bed, didn't wash anything. When Aaron returned home that evening, he froze at the door. Plates were everywhere. The floor was littered. And Aveen? Still watching TV like nothing was wrong. Aaron dropped his keys. "Aveen, what's going on here?" he asked, clearly irritated. "Oh my love. You're back," Aveen said cheerfully. "I've just been relaxing, enjoying your house." Aaron blinked. "Did you cook?" She laughed. No. Your cook didn't come today. And your cleaner too. Very useless staff if you ask me." Aaron stared at her. "What staff? I don't have a cook or cleaner. I was the one keeping this house clean before marriage. You really can't sweep or wash a plate." Aveen looked confused. "I've never done that before. Why should I start now?" Aaron walked into the bedroom without another word. He sat down and took a deep breath. "What have I gotten myself into?" he muttered. After bathing, he came back to find the living room still in the same messy state. "Aveen," he said calmly, "why is this place still dirty?" She yawned. "I'm not a maid, Aaron. I've never cleaned in my life and I'm not about to start now. If you want it clean, get a maid. Simple." Aaron stared at her for a long time. He was angry, disappointed, and slowly realizing that this wasn't the kind of wife he had hoped for. Later that evening, when Aaron tried to get something to eat, he found the kitchen empty. "There's no food?" he asked. "Of course not," Aveen replied, stretching lazily. "Like I said, your chef didn't show up. I had to order food online. Honestly, you should fire that entire kitchen staff. Very unreliable people." Aaron blinked in disbelief. "Aveen, I don't have a chef. I do the cooking myself. And since you're now living here, I assumed you'd help with meals." She gasped. "You mean you actually cook?" I'm finished." Aveen crossed her arms and looked irritated. "So you want me, the only daughter of Zeno and Loma, to be slaving in the kitchen? That's disgusting. In my house we had chefs, local and foreign. If I wanted pancakes, Chef Bernard made them. If I wanted jollof, Chef Dunny handled it. Why should I be cooking now?" Aaron was stunned. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You're telling me you can't cook basic food?" he asked slowly. "Of course not," Aveen said proudly. "And I don't see why I should." Aaron simply walked into the kitchen, poured himself a bowl of cereal, and ate in silence. He had no energy to argue anymore. That night, as they lay in bed, he reached for Aveen again, hoping things had improved. But once again she burst into tears. "It hurts, Aaron. Please stop." "I can't," she cried. Aaron rolled over, frustrated and helpless. It had been almost 3 weeks since their wedding, and they still hadn't consummated their marriage. He stared at the ceiling, wondering if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. The next morning, just as he was about to leave for work, Aaron was shocked to see his father Toma at the door. Behind him stood Zeno, Loma, and a young girl named Kima. "Dad? What's going on?" Aaron asked, confused. "Sit down, son," Toma said calmly. "We need to talk." Everyone sat. Then Toma turned to Aaron. "Your wife called me last night. She said the two of you are struggling with the chores. So I called her parents and we've come up with a solution. This young girl here is Kima. She's your new house help." Aaron blinked. "What?" he said. "Dad, I didn't ask for this." But before he could say more, Loma stepped forward. "My daughter is not used to housework. She grew up in comfort. You can't suddenly expect her to start sweeping and cooking like a village girl. That's not fair." Zeno nodded. "This is a simple fix. Kima will handle the cleaning and cooking. Let's not turn this into a crisis." Aaron looked at Aveen, who sat there sulking with her arms folded. He sighed deeply. "Fine. Thank you all," he said with forced politeness. "Welcome, Kima." The parents said their goodbyes and left. That day Aaron stayed home. Kima got to work immediately. She swept the house, cleaned the floors, arranged the bedroom, and prepared a rich vegetable soup. Aaron and Aveen ate together. "This soup is amazing," Aveen said, licking her fingers. Aaron nodded silently, watching both his wife and Kima. For the first time since the wedding, the house felt peaceful. But even then, something didn't sit right with him. He knew deep down this wasn't how things should be. 4 months passed, and though the house stayed clean and the food delicious, one problem remained: Aaron and Aveen still hadn't consummated their marriage. Every time he tried, she would scream or cry. "I told you it's painful," Aveen would shout. Aaron grew quiet and frustrated. They began to fight often. "Then go to the hospital," he'd say. "Talk to someone." But Aveen refused. "It's not that serious," she said dismissively. Aaron began to feel like a stranger in his own marriage. And all the while, Kima observed everything quietly. One evening, as Kima washed dishes in the kitchen, she muttered under her breath, "Which kind wife be this? She no cook, she no clean, she no even do her duty for night. Me way be house help, I fit do all. Life no balance at all." Kima sighed and shook her head. But soon, her sigh turned into an idea. "Maybe it's time for things to change," she whispered. A sly smile crossed her face. From that moment, Kima began to change how she dressed. Tighter clothes, shorter skirts, more perfume. And slowly she started catching Aaron's attention. One Saturday, while Aveen was at the salon doing her hair, Kima walked into the living room wearing a skimpy wrapper and pretending to sweep. She bent over slightly more than necessary. Aaron, seated on the couch, glanced up from his phone and stared. Kima noticed. "Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't know you were here," she said softly. "It's okay," Aaron replied, unable to look away. His body reacted before his brain could. He hadn't been touched in months. He was tired, angry, and desperate. That afternoon, something happened that changed everything. Before either of them could stop it, Aaron had taken Kima to his bedroom. What started as silent tension turned into passion. And that passion turned into guilt, but only for a moment. Afterward, Kima smiled. "You looked like you needed that," she said. Aaron looked away, ashamed and relieved at the same time. "We can't let this happen again," he mumbled. But it didn't stop there. In fact, it only got worse. Kima and Aaron began a secret affair, right under Aveen's nose. They shared long glances, whispered laughs, and stolen moments, all within the same house. Aveen noticed the changes, though she couldn't place them. "You've stopped disturbing me at night," she said one evening, puzzled. "Is everything okay?" Aaron smiled faintly. "Yes, my love. I just want you to take your time." Aveen frowned but said nothing more. Days passed, and she also noticed that Kima no longer feared her. The maid spoke with boldness, sometimes even ignoring instructions. Whenever Aveen scolded her, Aaron would quickly defend Kima. "She's trying," he would say. Aveen began to feel something was very, very wrong. Then one night, Aveen couldn't sleep. She reached for Aaron in bed, but the space beside her was empty. Confused, she got up and walked around the house, checking each room. When she got to the maid's room, her heart stopped. There on the bed, she saw Aaron asleep, his arm around Kima. "Aaron," she screamed. Kima jumped up, naked and afraid. "It's not what you think, madam. Please, I beg you," she cried. But Aaron didn't say a word. He simply walked past Aveen and returned to the bedroom. His face showed no emotion. He was done pretending. The next morning, Aaron dressed for work as usual. When he entered the living room he saw Zeno, Loma and Toma all seated. Avin sat beside them red-eyed from crying. "So it's true?" Toma asked his son. "You left your wife for a maid? I'm ashamed of you. Look at your beautiful wife. You've not even explored her, and now you're chasing after a house help? Have you no shame?" Aaron stood still, then slowly walked forward. "Father, this didn't start because I'm a bad man. It started because for 6 months, I lived in a marriage that wasn't real. I have needs," Aaron continued, his voice calm but firm. "For 6 months I didn't touch my wife. Not once. She couldn't cook, couldn't clean, couldn't satisfy me. I begged. I waited. I tried. But nothing changed. And then one day someone offered me peace. That someone was Kima." Gasps filled the room. Zeno tried to speak, but Aaron raised a hand. "She listens. She cooks. She cleans. She respects me. She knows how to love. Yes, she's a maid. But she's also carrying my child." Avin stood up in shock. "You what?" she screamed. But Aaron did not stop. "Thank God I never touched you," Aaron said, now turning to Avin. "That makes this easier. Please pack your things and go with your parents. I'm done with this marriage. You were pampered into uselessness. And now it's time to face reality. Go back home, Avin. Let the maid serve you. But not here. Not in my life anymore." Loma gasped. Zeno looked down in shame. "This boy will kill me," he muttered. "Toma, your son has disgraced us." But Toma only rubbed his head, looking speechless. He knew Aaron had already made his decision. Zeno stood up angrily. "Loma, let's go. Avin, go pack your bags now," he shouted. "We're leaving this foolish house immediately." Loma rushed to her daughter, pulling her gently. "Let's go, my dear," she whispered, trying not to cry. Aaron watched them silently as they stormed out. "You should be ashamed," Zeno said to Toma on his way out. "This is what you raised? A man who throws away his wife like trash." Toma tried to apologize, but Zeno had already slammed the door. Aaron walked to his room and shut the door as well. He was done talking. Over the next few weeks things moved quickly. Aaron married Kima in a small, quiet ceremony. Toma didn't attend. He said he needed time to understand his son's decisions. Kima moved fully into the home, not as a maid this time but as a wife. She stopped doing chores herself and hired help. Aaron didn't complain. He had peace. He had satisfaction. And when their baby boy arrived 3 months later, Aaron cried tears of joy. He named the boy Toman after his father. Kima smiled and held her husband close. It was the happiest moment of their lives. Meanwhile, back in Zeno's mansion, Avin sat on her bed, staring into space. Her eyes were tired. Her hair was unkempt. Her hands trembled as she held a spoon, trying to stir tea. Loma entered the room quietly. "My child, eat something please," she said. Avin looked up and whispered, "Mama, was I the problem?" Loma's lips trembled. She didn't have the strength to lie. She sat beside her daughter and took her hand. "We made you too soft, my love. We thought we were protecting you, but we forgot to teach you life." Those words stayed with Avin. For days she couldn't sleep. Eventually she asked the chefs in the house to teach her how to cook. "Teach me everything, rice, soup, stew, baking. I want to know it all," she said. They looked surprised, but they obeyed. She also told the maids to go home. "I'll clean my room myself," she declared. Her parents watched silently as their daughter slowly began changing. She started sweeping, washing clothes, and cooking dinner. The mansion began to feel like a different house. It was as if someone had opened a window and let reality in. At night, Avin would lie awake thinking. "If only I had tried," she whispered to herself. "If only I had been less stubborn, maybe I would still be married." One day while folding laundry she said out loud, "Next time I won't be a burden. I'll be a blessing." Zeno heard her from the doorway. He walked in slowly and hugged his daughter. "I'm proud of you," he said. "This isn't easy, but I see you're growing. And that means everything." For the first time in weeks, Avin smiled and rested her head on her father's chest. Back in Aaron's home, things were cheerful. Kima was pregnant again. She had enrolled in school and was doing very well. Aaron supported her every step of the way. One day she asked, "My love, do you think people still talk about us?" Aaron smiled. "Let them talk," he said. "They weren't there when I was starving. They weren't there when I begged for peace. Let them talk." Kima nodded. "Still, sometimes I wonder if Avin is okay." Aaron shrugged. "She'll be fine. Maybe this was what she needed to grow up." A few weeks later, Toma visited Aaron for the first time since the marriage. He carried a small gift for his grandson. Aaron welcomed him in with a nervous smile. "Dad," Toma raised a hand. "Let me speak first," he said. "I didn't raise you to be a cheat. But I also didn't raise you to be miserable. I still don't approve of how you handled it, but I see you're happy. And I see your wife respects you. That's more than many men have." Aaron smiled and hugged his father. "Thank you for coming." Meanwhile, Aveen began volunteering at a women's center, helping other girls learn cooking and home management. She used her story as a lesson. "Don't wait until life breaks you," she would say. "Start learning now. Know your value, but also learn to give value." Slowly, people began to see a new Aveen. She no longer dressed in luxury all the time. She started using her hands. She started listening. Loma and Zeno watched from a distance, quietly cheering her on. It was hard, but they believed she would make it. One sunny afternoon, Aveen received a message on her phone. It was from an old university acquaintance named Darren. "Hi Aveen, I heard you're doing amazing things now. I always knew there was more to you." She smiled and replied, "Thanks Darren. Life has a way of teaching us what pride can't." That evening, she stood in the garden, watering the flowers herself, not waiting for the gardener. Loma came out and said, "A young man called earlier. He asked for permission to visit you next week." Aveen turned surprised. "Who?" "Darren," her mother replied. "He said he wants to talk, seriously." Aveen stood still for a moment. She looked up at the sky, smiled and whispered, "This time, I'll be ready." The wind blew gently as if the world itself was responding. Her heart felt calm. She had lost once. But now she had grown. And maybe, just maybe, she was about to begin again.